Hello beautiful people of Age of Empires Mobile, here is the long awaited video in which you're gonna see Tribhuwana at 5 stars versus, well, Mr. Mehmet at 5 stars. So let's go find that boy, and it's gonna look something like this. And what I'm gonna present you in this episode is gonna be 5 different setups with these 4 heroes, so Miyamoto, Mehmet, Yodit and Tribhuwana. And then we're gonna rank these matches. So basically, you are looking at 100 battles done totally with an average of 90 seconds to wait till you get a result per battle equals 2.5 hours just only to get the data. So I will gonna highly appreciate if you guys would give something back, which is 100% free, by subscribing to this channel, sharing this channel with your friends, and obviously watch my videos till the end. But first let's start by me showing you what kind of gems I have on this hero, what kind of skills I have. So you're seeing here what I'm running. That's the High Spirit together with Earth Crush, and both are at 5 out of 5 stars. Because there are some small differences versus the last video which I made at Tribhuwana at 3 stars versus Mehmet at 5 stars. Let's have a look at the gear very fast. You also have an option right here, so if you click on this you basically see all the stats from the gear and the gems. But I can also show you here the gems. So for the helm you see this, for the gloves you're gonna see these gems, for the chest you are seeing these gems, and for the boots you are seeing these gems. You also see the ring which I'm using, the Lofty Mountain on Miyamoto. Let's see Tribhuwana. She's gonna land this ring to Mehmet once he gets his turn. So that's the Skyward Knight. Let's have a look first at the skills. So I'm running Judgment with King's Blade. So both of them are 4 out of 5 stars. And let's check the gear very fast. So you see the attributes here. If you want to pause the video, take a screenshot, you can do that. Here are the gems which are on the helm. Let's have a look at the gloves. Let's have a look at the chest, and let's have a look at the boots, and let's briefly show you Yodit too, especially with the skills, of course. So I'm running right now the battle roll with the Executioner. Both of them are at 5 stars right now. And let's check the gear, and again I'm gonna show you the attributes overview here. So okay, and then you're gonna see the gems here. On the gloves we have these gems, on the chest we have these gems, and on the boots we have these gems. And of course, I want to show you the ring too, which is the Effulgent Sun. Good, so let's start to present you these battle reports right now. And obviously, they are in the order in which I have done the tests. So we're gonna start first with Miyamoto, Tribhuwana, and Yodit. Here are the 20 battle reports. And you see this number, which I would like to call the score of this match, of 44.56%. So pay attention, the differences was going to be pretty small between consecutive ranks, but there's going to be a more noticeable difference between different ranks, obviously. The best performance possible is when the opponent still had 23.03% units still left alive. Worst performance possible, 57.41%. And what's super important, obvious for this match is the average match performance. Is that field marked in gray? Because let's jump a second back in the game, because I want to show you that battle report as it represents the average match performance. So here we go, beautiful people. You are looking at the battle report. Let's go to the comparison. Let's have a look at the buffs first. So you're gonna see here the might attack, strategy attack, and all this stuff. So pause the video if you need to. For those of you which don't want a super detailed explanation, yeah, just look at the raw data and how this match performed. But obviously we have a couple of people which want to see the hero activation skills. So let's slowly scroll down. Let's see Tribhuwana, and slowly, and let's see also Yodit. So this is what happened with this setup. Good. So now let's move to the second setup. And in this case, I actually brought Yodit on slot number 2, because a lot of people also wanted to see how Tribhuwana would perform on slot number 3. So you're looking at Miyamoto, Yodit, and Tribhuwana. Here are the 20 battle reports. The best performance possible, you see it there marked in green. The worst performance possible, you see there marked in red. The average match performance is 45.64. That's the score. And obviously, what's super important, in 20 attacks, we have marked the field in gray, and that's right there, the 44.89%, which comes as close as possible to the match average performance. And now let's jump again into the game and let's see. So that's exactly this battle report here, people. Same condition. Let's go to the comparison. Let's have a look at the buffs. Okay, the stats, super important for a lot of people. It's super simple to see kind of what happened. And obviously we want to have a look at the details. And here we see the activation for Miyamoto. Then we're going to have a look at Yodit here. And then we are looking at the activation of Tribhuwana. Good, so now let's move to the third setup which I tested. So I wanted to see Yodit as commander, then the second slot should be Tribhuwana, and the third slot should be Miyamoto. So these are the 20 battle reports. Obviously you see again, best performance possible marked in green, worst performance possible marked in red, and this score for this match is 45.16%. And always keep in consideration, the way I'm doing my tests, the lower these numbers are, the better the match performance is. And obviously you see again this field marked in gray, which is 43.36, coming as close as possible to the average match performance, because I would like to jump again in game to show you what happened exactly in that setup. And that's exactly what you're seeing now on the screen. So let's jump into the cooperation, obviously the buffs, then the simplified version of what happened basically, and then into the details, because here you want to see how Yodit performs as the commander, obviously the activation skills. Feel free to pause the video if you need to. You guys also recognize the skills and what they are, so I don't have to click on it to make the video extra longer. Good, let's have a look at the fourth match. And now is the time in which Mehmet is going to jump in. So I have chosen this setup, Miyamoto with Yodit, and on the third slot should be Mehmet. So here are the 20 battle reports. Obviously you see the best match performance, 10.21%. Units still left alive on the opponent. The worst performance possible is marked in red. The average match performance score for this setup is 41.82%. So don't panic, because I will gonna sort these 5 matches into ranks. And we also have to talk about the conclusion, because it's not that simple. And let's have a look now at the battle report, which represents exactly that performance. Here are the buffs, here are the stats, the simplified version of what happened. And obviously here in the details, also super important, the activation chances and what skills were activated, the damage, and of course, we go all the way down to Mr. Mehmet. Good. So we have one more match which I would like to show you, which is the 5th match. And in this case, I went Miyamoto together with Mehmet, together with Yodit. And here are the 20 battle reports. Obviously, as always, the best match performance is marked in green. The worst match performance is marked in red. And the average match performance score for this match is 41.07%. And now let's have a look at this field marked in gray, as this comes as close as possible to this match average performance. So let's jump one more time in a game, because here you see Miyamoto, Mehmet, and Tribhuwana. So let's jump directly to the comparison. So first I would like to go directly into the lineup. Super important, as I have to mention the other video made between Mehmet 5 stars and Tribhuwana 3 stars. If I remember correctly, Mehmet didn't have 5 stars here or here. And obviously, I'm using the same gear on Tribhuwana and Mehmet, but I had to prioritize due to KVK to bring these 2 skills at 5 stars. And here you can see that indeed he has the same ring, the Skyward Knight, and basically the gear which is normally on Tribhuwana. Good. The buffs are these ones. This is the simplified version of what happened. And of course, what's super important are the skill activation tabs or the details. So you see there Miyamoto, you see here Mehmet, and you see here Yodit. So now before we're gonna sort these 5 matches and talk about the consequences, or in other words, my recommendations, but first let me show you this important screenshot. This is coming from the video uploaded 9 days ago. And that's the Tribhuwana 3 stars versus Mehmet 2 stars. Because as I said, Mehmet had 4 out of 5, both skills. So now it's 5 out of 5. And then the second screenshot I wanted to show you, I had different skills on Tribhuwana. Sadly, I ran out of these reset scrolls, therefore I couldn't put it back in, but they remain a 4 out of 5 stars, both of them. And of course, what's super important before you see the ranks is obviously what was there, the conclusion, 2.38% difference between Tribhuwana 3 stars and Mehmet at 5 stars under those circumstances. Okay, beautiful people, now is the time to start with rank number 5. And on rank number 5, we are finding Miyamoto with Yodit and Tribhuwana. and the average match performance score is 45.64%. On rank number 4, we find Yodit with Tribhuwana and Miyamoto, the match performance being 45.16%. Don't worry about the differences, I'm going to put everything on the screen. On rank number 3, we are finding Miyamoto with Tribhuwana and Yodit with an average match performance 44.56. Then on rank number 2, I don't think it's a surprise because we are seeing Miyamoto, Yodit and Mehmet. And here you have to pay attention, Mehmet is on the 3rd slot and the average match performance is 41.82%. And the rank number 1 is Miyamoto with Mehmet and Yodit, the average match performance being 41.07%. Good, let's talk about the differences right now. So, as I mentioned at the beginning of the videos, between consecutive ranks, the difference is super small. Like between rank 1 and rank 2, which means Mehmet on slot number 2 or slot number 3, the difference is 0.75%. So super small. But when we come to the difference between rank 2 and rank 3, which basically represents Tribhuwana versus Mehmet, both the 5 stars, the difference is 2.74%. And the difference between rank 3 and rank 4 is just 0.6%, meaning using Miyamoto or Yodit as commander. And of course, the difference between rank 4 and rank 5, it's also super small, 0.48%. And now to the important part, which is Tribhuwana at 5 stars versus Mehmet at 5 stars. We have to compare rank 1 with rank 3, and here we see a difference between these two setups of 3.49% performance, which is not that big. And I hope you guys also saw the video which I've done on the Warrior Archer. It's kind of the same number which we saw as difference between Mehmet and Attila. And this is a super important piece of information. Let's jump a second back into the game. Because even if Mehmet is slightly better than Tribhuwana, for me personally, taking in consideration the following factors, I think in this case, Tribhuwana is actually the winner, not necessarily Mehmet, and I'm going to explain you why. Because you have here, in the heroic expeditions, if you ever look at the store, here you find Tribhuwana. And let me briefly address this, because I am a high spender, whatever you want to call me, but these offers which you see in here are, from my perspective, beyond broken. So not even me is buying this stuff, and I hope the devs will gonna fix this at one point. Basically, at least add these coins to be bought with Empire's coins, and we should be fine, because I understand that there has to be a difference between Tribhuwana and these heroes here. For 100 tokens, this is 150. So in other words, from the heroic expansion, the only thing which you should take is actually the pack for $2.99, which will gonna give you, I think, around 1,000 of these tokens. And that's enough. And even if the setups are different between the video in which I compared Tribhuwana 3 stars versus Mehmet with 5 stars and this episode, that's another reason for me to say that the true winner of this episode, from my perspective, and taking into consideration those factors, is actually Tribhuwana. And honestly speaking, I have another video from the Battle of Dawn in which I'm using Mehmet on my archers, and it definitely does make a difference. That extra damage reduction plus the high healing. So beautiful people, yeah, this was the long-awaited video on Tribhuwana 5 stars versus Mehmet at 5 stars. I hope you enjoy it, and again, I do indeed have to repeat this because sadly this is how it is. It takes a lot of time and efforts to produce such videos. And that's how life is. It's a giving and taken. And if you consider that these videos have indeed a value and actually helped you, now it's your turn to give something back, which is 100% free. Just subscribe to this channel. Obviously, I think it's worth to watch my videos till the end. Share this channel with your friends if they are playing Age of Empires Mobile. Thank you very much for watching, and I'm gonna catch you in the next one. Ciao, ciao, ciao.